But again, you make decisions, right? And that's your job as a head coach. You have to make tough decisions. And that's why, and half the people are going to agree with it, half the people aren't. Half you guys are going to agree with it, half you aren't. And that's okay. But you have to do what you think's best for the football team. And so to change course, if you make that decision, and you're convicted on it and then change course in the middle, I think that puts the guys in a tough spot. And again, I knew that this could be the outcome, right? We knew all these things. Like, I didn't know the outcome of the other game. It ended up going the way we wanted it to go. But again, I did what I did because I did what I felt was best for the football team.
The playoffs begin. The Philadelphia Eagles wrap up their season finale with a loss at home against the Washington Commanders. Final score 24-17. The Eagles decided to rest the majority of their starters on offense and defense for this game, which was the right call, by the way, and we'll get more into that. And the Eagles fell short in getting that number 2 seed throughout the playoffs. But does that really matter? Let's get into it. Welcome to 4th and Chip. Eagles lose a close one at the Link versus the Washington Commanders on Sunday. Tanner McKee truthers got to see their Mormon missile in action on Sunday. Now, I'm not here to start a civil war, but there are so-called Eagles fans that were calling for Jalen to be benched for Tanner McKee during the season. And I'm so serious. One thing about Eagles fans is that we tend to over-glorify the second-string quarterback when things start to get a little sour on offense. It's an Eagles fan staple. However, if you navigate through the nonsense, after this game, it's clear how important Jalen Hurts is to the Eagles offense. And more importantly, how important he is to Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo's job security. Jalen Hurts covers a lot of crap with the offensive play calling on a weekly basis. I guess that's kind of expected though when you're the franchise guy. But like I stated before, it's not ideal to have your quarterback having to fight 2 battles during the game. The opposing team and then the offensive play selection. Look, I get that the Eagles are reigning champs and Sirianni is a reigning Super Bowl winning head coach. But one can argue he got to where he is heavily relying on the back and shoulders of his offensive coordinators. There's no Shane Steichen. There's no Kellen Moore this time to get you to the promised land. So he has to rely on first-year signal caller and Kevin Patullo. My hope, at least for me, going into the playoffs is that Nick somehow dials in. Nick has the formula to what works well with this team. We have countless drives that prove that, countless data. The challenge is right in front of Nick and the offensive coaches, though. That conservative coaching has to be an afterthought going into the playoffs. Just have a feel for the game, man. That's all I'm asking for. If the Eagles maintain their aggression and rhythm in the playoffs, then I'll see you guys on Broad Street in February. And I mean that. This team is way too talented on offense, y'all. Way too talented. Nick, Sirianni, and Kevin Patullo, please lock in for these playoffs. Now let's briefly discuss this game. I felt like Tanner McKee overall was solid in the first half. Granted, he was playing with a bunch of second and third stringers, so we have to keep that in mind to an extent. I just felt like making Tanner throw the ball 40 times isn't necessarily the right game plan to have. But again, can't blame Tanner too much. These question marks are meant for the coaching staff to answer. Tanner really couldn't get things going in the second half, and that's partially due to him not being able to extend plays with his legs, and he missed some costly throws as well. But again, the coaching staff didn't do him any favors either. And when you have Kevin Patullo as your offensive coordinator, God bless. Here's what Tanner McKee had to say about his performance on Sunday against the Commanders.
I mean, obviously, first reaction is frustrating just because no matter how you perform, you're always just want to get one in the win column. And so immediate, let it sting for a little bit. But people always say let it sting for 24 hours and then move on. So it's definitely hurting a little bit right now. And then we're just going to go watch some film, have a lot of really good things to learn from. Me specifically of just, dumb mistakes or different things that we can learn from. The good thing is it's never going to happen again. The bad thing is you got to learn from it by losing, unfortunately. So,
look, the Eagles have something very valuable in Tank Bigsby, but my fear going into the playoffs will fall under the umbrella of misuse. The last carry Tank got against the Commanders was in the third quarter with 2 minutes left to play. Tank was averaging close to 5 yards per carry for the game. The third quarter. Lord, please wake up these Eagles coaches. Please. I just don't know what else to say anymore. I just really don't. Kelee, Ringo, and Jakorian Bennett are simply not quality cornerbacks in the NFL. And that's fine if you simply look at them as roster fillers. But man, Washington was in this game largely because of those two. And it seemed to me every time the pass was thrown in their direction, they panicked and committed a penalty. Bennett had 3 defensive pass interference calls called on him while Ringo had 1. That is terrible. Now I see why Vic Fangio refuses to play Jakorian Bennett, because he is a walking defensive pass interference flag. Also, look at this play by Ringo. Like, what are we doing? Why? You turned all the way around. Why? Thank the good Lord for Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Seriously. There was some positives on the defense, though. Listen, family, Jalyx Hunt is turning out to be a really, really promising player. Hunt, in his second year as an NFL pro, leads the Eagles in interceptions and sacks. Yes, you heard that right. What a find by Howie Roseman and the scouting department. He is turning out to be such a staple on that defensive line, and we will need his play to continue into the playoffs. And about those playoffs, it turns out the Philadelphia Eagles will host the 49ers as the 3rd seed in their first matchup in the playoffs. And if we remember the last time the Eagles played San Francisco, yeah, it wasn't pretty. I fully expect the Eagles to get their lick back against the 49ers. Now, let's keep things in mind. That 2023 defense was abysmal, but this is a new year, and this defense can ball. Also, the Eagles will be getting back right tackle Lane Johnson. He has been resting for the past 3 weeks, so the Eagles will need all the help they can get on that offensive line. And then, historically speaking, the Eagles usually perform well when they have rested their starters prior to the playoffs beginning. And I cannot wait for this matchup, y'all. I know we've been going back and forth about the play calling all season and these 1-score games, but this marks a new season. The playoffs are everyone 0-0, and it's time to line it up. Shut up and just line it up. This is what the playoffs are about. Those 1-score games don't really matter in the playoffs. It's you win or go home. And the Eagles are on the road to doing something they haven't done ever, and that's repeat as champions. But it's going to take the offensive coaches to really dial in. I have all the faith in the world in the players, but my biggest concern is with Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo. Hopefully they lock in. There is enough of data and evidence to show that they can put together well-coached games. We just need them to focus and keep that level of aggression up when the playoffs start. I appreciate y'all for dropping in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all Eagles-related news. Until next time, fly, Eagles, fly.